Hey Cozy Crew, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Carmen, and on my channel I like to document my cozy life with my husband and my cat Chai here in Chicago. So everything cozy, cozy games, crafts, and slow living, and hopefully you enjoy. So on my last video, the one about anti-brain rot learning, I discussed all the ways I was combating brain rot and doing different things besides going on my phone. And I had mentioned that I had purchased the brick and that I would be doing a further and more thorough review once I had used it for a while. Review now, since I've had it for about 2 months. I bought this at the end of December, and now it's the beginning of March, so it's been more than 2 months, and I feel comfortable giving a review now. So go ahead and get yourself a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, or your beverage of choice, and let's talk about the brick. I'm going to start by talking about what the brick is. So when you get the brick, you get it in this little box, and it took about 3 days for it to get to me. So it comes in this little box, and it has the QR code for you to download the brick app, and then the brick is just right here. I put it back in just for you guys to see what it looks like. And the device is really small and compact and light, and this is the code that you scan and download the app that goes with this. And in the app, you will select the apps on your phone that you want to brick. And when you're ready to brick your phone, you just tap on this, or you can go straight from the brick app and hold down the button and it'll brick your phone. So how it works is that the bricked apps are locked. So you can't look at them, you can't activate them when you're on your phone. So you get this message that pops up, and that's it. If you want to unbrick your phone, you have to go and tap the brick, and then your phone is unbricked. All right, so me being me, I have some notes in my Cozy HQ notebook, and I will be referring to those throughout this video. And I wanted to start by why I got the brick. Some of you may remember that back in October, I made a video about quitting my phone for a week and doing other things, engaging cozy hobbies, and how I felt so much better because I had been putting in a lot of screen time. And after that video, I really thought I had cracked it. Like, I have the willpower to stay off my phone and I don't have to worry about it anymore. That didn't last because I've found out that willpower alone isn't enough to really kick some bad habits. So like many people, I was putting in so many hours throughout the day on my phone, specifically social media, specifically Instagram Reels. Some days were really bad, 5 to 6 hours. And I was feeling like I don't have time for the things that I want to do. I feel like my day just goes by so fast and I have no time. I'm exhausted. I also felt like mental clutter. My focus, my attention span was terrible. My memory felt terrible. So I knew I wanted to make a change. And I had seen the ad for the brick, funny enough, on Instagram Reels. And I thought, I'll give it a shot. So I paid for this with my own money, and it arrived, like I said, at the end of December. And it was such an easy setup. The one main thing that I really thought was important was to put this in a place that was inconvenient for me. And I say this because I had used other apps on my phone to lock, social media or apps that I use a lot. And it was so easy to bypass. You would just get this message and you just hit ignore. Like, way too easy. So I needed it to be difficult to ignore. So I decided to put this in our guest bedroom, which is downstairs in the back, and in the bathroom, in a drawer next to our cat's litter. Now, this is for a few reasons. One, I spend a lot of my time upstairs here at work, or in the living room, or in our bedroom. So having to go downstairs to the back of the house is already inconvenient. Second, it's next to the litter box, and even though we keep it clean, I don't like hanging out in the litter box, or not in the litter box, but next to the litter box. And then the last reason is my cat, we clean her litter box in the morning, and that corresponds with her breakfast and playtime. And in the evening, we clean it again, and that corresponds with her dinner, especially, and it's really important, this part, because it's her wet food dinner. She loves her wet food. So if I walk into that bathroom, she's going to think that, oh, you're cleaning my litter, you're going to give me food. If you have a cat that is as obsessed with food as my cat is, you know how annoying they can be when they think they're getting fed. So that is the key element of this brick device, is that it provides intentional friction. So instead of just bypassing some kind of message that comes up, some kind of warning that comes up, you have to actually get up, stop what you're doing, get up, and go to the brick and tap it to unbrick your phone. And that is enough to break that cycle, the cycle of automatically picking up your phone and scrolling. Because that was my issue. It was like automatic. It didn't feel like a choice anymore. And I needed something to break that cycle. So the beginning was definitely the hardest part. I mean, I think that just makes sense, because I realized with using the brick, and it was so hard because it was automatic. I would just automatically pick up my phone and start scrolling. There was no physical barrier, no user barrier. Like, it was so easy to do that it just became second nature. So I would do it in between tasks at work, or between chores, or at the end of the day, I was tired, and instead of doing something else that might be low effort but still rewarding, like, I don't know, watching a show or doing a little bit of cross stitch, or even some light reading of a magazine or something, I would just automatically pick up my phone to scroll for hours, and it would leave me feeling awful. So the beginning was the hardest, but it was also clear to me to see the impulses that I had, like the impulse to just scroll my phone. But that slowly went away as I was able to break that cycle. I would go to scroll on Instagram, and I would get the message that I would have to go unbrick my phone. And that was enough for me to break that cycle, reevaluate, and say, actually, no, I don't need to go on Instagram, or I don't want to, I'll go on later. And it started getting so much easier that I didn't even think about it. I would go a week without going on Instagram. And along with Instagram, I also had Instagram, YouTube Studio. If you're a content creator, you know how easy it is to go on to YouTube Studio and just spend so much time looking at your numbers, analytics, and yeah. So I had to brick that one, as well as Reddit and Facebook. I don't use Facebook much, but I could definitely see myself being desperate enough to go on Facebook just to scroll, even though Facebook is such a cesspool. It became so much easier, and weeks went by. It became so much easier that when I went to visit my family in Florida a few weeks ago, I forgot to unbrick my phone, and it was fine. I actually felt like it added to the trip because I spent more intentional time with my family, or I did my own little hobbies while I was there, and it was really nice. So it did get so much easier with time. Talk about some of the benefits that I've noticed since I've gotten the brick. So I have noticed that my focus is a lot better. So I'm no longer fragmenting my focus between a task and then scrolling. So when I am doing something, I'm a lot more focused, because before I would, like I said, in between tasks, I would scroll, and then like watching a show, I would scroll, reading a few pages, then scroll. So I was fragmenting my attention, and now that has gotten a lot better. I'm able to focus on one task and devote my attention to it. I feel like my memory is better too. That probably goes because I'm not filling my mind with a bunch of just random nonsense that you see, and instead, like, my mind has the space to take in new information. I sleep better. So I used to scroll before bed, and the stimulation from scrolling is so bad to get for like sleep, and then also the blue light. So now my phone stays in another room charging, and I have an old school alarm to wake me up. And I sleep better, which is good because I am not a good sleeper. I am someone who can fall asleep anywhere and can fall asleep easily, but I am a restless sleeper. And definitely adding all that stimulation was not good for someone who is a restless sleeper, who struggles with anxiety and anxiety around sleeping. So definitely that has been such a great benefit. And because I sleep better, that adds to better focus, better memory, and just being overall in like a better mood. So what am I doing instead of scrolling now? So now that I hardly ever go on like Instagram or those other social media apps, I still go on them, but it's intentional time. And very little of my time is spent on those apps. Since I got the brick at the end of December, I've read 4 books, and 2 of them were buddy reads, including The Nightingale, which is a really thick book. I also read a Christmas buddy read with my friend Lynn's, and I read Blood Over Bright Haven, which was fantastic. Oh my gosh, I highly recommend that book. Maybe I'll do a separate video reviewing that. And I read a nonfiction book called You're Not Listening, and it's all about becoming a better listener. That's been great. And I have some more books that I'm reading here, a book about cat science and a book about art theory. Along with reading, I've been painting. So I love to paint. I am a gouache artist and I'm always looking to improve, but now I feel like I actually have the time to do these tutorials and improve my skills as an artist. And I finished a few different pieces, including a piece that I made for my friend and gifted it to her for her birthday when I was down in Florida. She really loved it, and it was honestly so nice to know that I had the time to make something for her. So I'm continuing my Spanish studies. I take classes once a week, and now I feel like I actually have more time to dedicate to my studies. So instead of just trying to rush to get my homework done, I have time throughout the week to do it. Really try to use what I've learned with conversations with my husband and with my mother, and I just feel like overall that's going better because I'm not diverting my attention to something else. Oh, and of course, cross stitch, my favorite, like probably one of my favorite hobbies. Painting and cross stitch and reading, those are my favorite hobbies. So I've been doing more cross stitch, and that's been great because instead of scrolling, I stitch, and stitching is so relaxing and it's creative and it has way more benefits than just scrolling on my phone. Time with loved ones. So for example, like I said, when I was in Florida, I felt like I could give my family more attention. We had better conversations. And it just felt like, even though I was only there from Monday to Friday, it felt like more time because I wasn't distracted by my phone. And I think that was really great. Also, when I'm with my husband, I feel like our conversations are better, that we engage more with each other instead of just sending reels back and forth, which is still fun. So when I do log into Instagram, I do see a couple reels that he sent me, and maybe I'll spend a little time and send some to him, but it's not like the 20 a day I was sending him. It's much more manageable. Time with my friends. So my meetups with my friend Lynn's, our Crafternoon Delights, they feel like they last so much longer. I don't know if that makes sense because like I'm not distracted. I'm able to give her, you know, my attention, and I feel like that's also growing our friendship. That's been really great. Work, obviously, well, I had work anyways, but I feel like my work is better because I have better focus now. And time with my cat Chai. So times when I would be scrolling, like when I would make my breakfast in the morning or make tea while that was preparing or heating up, I would usually scroll on my phone or something, but now I use those couple of minutes to play with her, throwing treats up and down the hall, up and down the stairs, loading up her treat puzzles, or just working with her on some tricks. And that's been really good for her because she's a high energy, high intelligence cat, and she needs that extra kind of enrichment. So that's been really good. And working out too. I feel like I have more energy now. So I've been slowly getting back into working out. So that might be like going on the treadmill, doing a quick workout, going back to yoga. So I've been going back to yoga class, and that's been really great. So good for my mental health and obviously for my physical health. I really wanted to touch base again on why I think the brick is different and why sometimes willpower alone is not enough. Now, the big thing that I've taken away from this is that the algorithms are made to keep us hooked. Your attention, your focus is the currency. So the way that these algorithms work, it's an endless scroll, first of all, and then it's tailored to things that you like. So even if you spend just a couple of seconds more on one reel, you'll get one that's similar and it'll keep you focused. So that's the algorithm part. Then there's your brain. So your brain loves dopamine and it loves low effort dopamine. That's why things like drugs and alcohol are highly addictive, because they make you feel really good with very little effort, even though there are very bad consequences to those. Your brain likes the dopamine. Your brain also gets dopamine when you scroll. So if you scroll and you see a funny video, that's endorphins, that's dopamine. Your brain loves it, and it's so low effort. Then you scroll the next one, and it's another great video, and then the next one and next one. So scrolling itself and seeing the videos is a source of dopamine, but also the anticipation of the next video is also another source of dopamine. Have you ever anticipated something that you know what's going to be good, like maybe a meal or a vacation? So this is like a micro form of that. So you have these sources of dopamine that are very low effort, and your brain loves it. So it's very hard to just stop it with willpower alone. So things that cause friction between you and scrolling, that is where change happens. So like I said, the brick causes intentional friction. And I think that the more intentional you are with where you place this, the better it will go for you. So I mentioned that I bought the brick back at the end of December, and I think it was early January that I met with my friend Lynn's for Craft Noon Delight, and I told her about the brick and how much I liked it, and she ended up getting one too, and she recommended it to her friends and a couple of coworkers, and they also got it. So I think that's really great. I actually asked her if she would give me like a mini review of her thoughts on the brick, and she said yes. So I asked her what she liked most about the brick, and she said that it makes her feel like safe on social media, because if she's on social media and she feels frustrated or upset, she can just brick her phone. So it's like that hard stop to scrolling. And I thought that was really interesting. I didn't think of it like that, but yeah, if you are on social media and you are kind of falling into a rabbit hole that might make you depressed or stressed out, you can put an end to that completely and then get back to it when you're in a better mindset. She also told me what her favorite feature was, and she says she loves the scheduling feature, which I didn't mention earlier. I don't use the scheduling feature. I just brick it, and then when I'm ready to go back, I go back. But she really likes it because it helps her set intentional time, and she says she does 3 different schedules, and that's really cool. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll give it a shot, but honestly, the way I do it now works for me. But if you want to have a schedule, like schedule your scrolling time for Friday afternoon from 6 to 7, then you can have that option. So I think she's like super happy with it, because I asked her what would make it better, and she didn't have anything to add. So like I mentioned earlier, I did buy this myself with my own money. It wasn't sent to me, and I'm not getting reimbursed or anything for this review. But my friend Lindsay liked this so much, I've liked it so much, and her friends and her coworkers have liked it so much that I reached out to Brick and asked for an affiliate link, and there's a part where you can say like why, like how do you feel about the brick, and I said how much it's helped me and my friends, and I thought that my subscribers would appreciate getting access to the brick. And they actually did give me an affiliate link, which was great because I only had like 170 subscribers at the time. So I do have an affiliate link now, and you do get 10% off the brick. So if you're interested in the brick and you want to support my channel and all the cozy things we do here, I'm going to go ahead and link it below, and that'll get you 10% off. All right, so I want to do my end of review thoughts. So I want to start with some things that I don't think are really negatives, but some things to think about. So the first one being the cost. I think, especially with today's economy, the price for the brick might be a barrier. But I do think that if you budget for it, I think it's actually a worthy expense. So if it's something that you're thinking about, but you can't afford it right now, don't go and put on a credit card if you don't have the money. Save for it. Save a couple dollars here, a couple of dollars there, and budget for it. And when you're ready to make the purchase, you can use my affiliate link for 10% off. But also Brick does a lot of their own discount codes. I do think it's something worth budgeting for, actually. I think the brick is really great. A few things that would make it better would be if it was compatible with an iPad. I would love if it was compatible with my iPad, because my iPad is basically an iPhone, just bigger. So sometimes I can get a little caught up in like YouTube Studio, things like that. But because it's bigger, it's not as easy to just stay on scrolling. But I think it'd be great. So I don't know if that's something that they'll be doing in the future, but I think that would be really great. I also think that finding a place to put it is key. So, for example, we live in a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom condo. It's 2 floors, so we have plenty of places to put this. But if you live in a smaller space, I think you would have to be really creative. So if I lived in like a studio apartment, I would put it under the bathroom sink and maybe like 2 or 3 boxes, just to make it really inconvenient and annoying to have to unbrick my phone. So I think you could just be creative, maybe give it to your neighbor or put it in your car if you have one. Yeah, just find ways to be creative and make it intentionally annoying to have to unbrick your phone. Another thing that I wasn't aware of, and my husband actually helped me figure out, is that if you put your phone, if you put the brick on strict mode, it will take away your app store. So if that happens to you and you're like, where to go into your brick app and click out of strict mode, that happened to me, and we were going crazy trying to figure that out. So that would have been kind of nice that they put like, this will delete your app store or will remove your app store. The strict mode is just so you can't delete the brick app to unbrick your phone, which I think is really funny that someone out there is like, you know what? Can't brick my phone if there's no brick app. So that's another thing. But those are really just like small things, honestly. I think all the pros far outweigh any negative. I think another great feature of the brick is that it's not a subscription. So you purchase the brick and you download the app and that's it. There's no renewal each year or monthly. And I think that's great. I really hope that Brick keeps that business model, because I feel like products like that are so few and far between. I also like that multiple phones can use the same brick. And I think that's great. So if you have kids that maybe you want to curb their screen time, or even if it's like you and your partner or you and a roommate, I think it's fantastic that multiple people can use the same brick. All right, so that is the end of my review for the brick. If you are interested in getting a brick and you would like a discount, feel free to use my link below. You do get 10% off, and it's a great way to support my channel. And if you do get it, I would love for you to come back to this video and leave a comment. I want to know a few things. I want to know where you put the brick, because I kind of think it's funny to know where people put the brick to keep them from scrolling. I want to know if it's hard. Was it hard for you at the beginning? Did you struggle, or was it easy? And I want to know what you're doing instead of scrolling. So if you feel so inclined, I would love for you to come back and give me that information. But for now, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys are staying safe, happy, healthy, and remember to keep it cozy.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe so my video can reach other awesome viewers like you.